Hi, everyone. My name is Dr. Evan Santiago. I am the director of the Master's Program in Curriculum and Instruction. I'm also the chair of teacher education. So we just wanted to say welcome, and I'll let everyone else introduce themselves as well.
Hey everyone, my name is Rhonda Dawson. I'm an Associate Dean of Extended Education and Global Outreach, and I also oversee all of the degree programs. So that's me. We're really thankful that you're here. Baghdad?
Yeah. Hi, my name is Baghdad Alkran. I am the degree education advisor, mainly for CNI. So,
All right, so I'm going to share screen with you all, and we will get started on the PowerPoint. Let's see how this goes. Okay, is everyone seeing that okay? We're good? Okay. So again, welcome. You could see at the bottom there is the website if you have not been there yet. Make sure you take note of that. It's pretty easy to get onto, especially if you get into the extended ed homepage, then you could find our program quickly. So I wanted to start by first acknowledging that we are voted as the #1 best accredited online master's program, and that's through the best accredited colleges. We're very proud of that. I think that the faculty that have been a part of this space work hand in hand with our amazing team here that you see before you. And we do that for you. We want to make sure that you get the best education possible and you leave more knowledgeable and ready to help lead in education. And so I just wanted to acknowledge that and share that we are really proud of that space. And of course, we are here to serve you. Everything that we do is to make sure that you are able to get that master's degree and move forward and be able to do what you want in a leadership role, whatever that may be. So when you have the broad area of curriculum and instruction, you have a lot of opportunities. So look into that as you move forward, and you take an advantage of this program because there are a lot of leadership opportunities that you could take within your district or even moving up or moving around that will help you as you move forward in your careers. So this master's degree is definitely golden. It's something that you could take and use in a lot of different spaces. Why is it so important? We are actually accredited in various areas. We're accredited through a national organization with AQUIP, and we're also accredited through WASC through the university. So that means we take the time to dig in and make sure our program is right, make sure that our program is aligned, and that we are doing what's best for you as students. Every single instructor that you meet and work with possesses a terminal degree, so is a doctor. They are a doctor of education or they have their PhD. And so we feel that that's also important because if we are teaching you as master students, then we need to have also gone through the appropriate channels and knowledge avenues regarding education, right? So we made sure that we have terminal degrees, which means we all pursued our doctorate and we are able to assist you as you move forward and maybe hopefully getting your doctorate as well. And also, something that we love about this program is that it is entirely online, being able to support you wherever you are. And we know that we have people not just in California, up and down the coast, but we also have people in different states and even across the world. We've had people in different countries that have been a part of our um, courses and a part of our program because maybe they once started here and moved, or they've heard about us and wanted to be a part. So we're really proud that because we are entirely online, we are able to serve people all over the world, literally. So we're really proud of that. So enough about us. We want to tell you about the classes that you'll take if you were interested in our program. So the core courses, we highly, highly, highly recommend to take, sooner rather than later, but it is a prerequisite to take the core courses before your culminating exam. So what that means is the 4 classes that you see on the screen are the main classes that you must take in order to complete the degree. You will have other courses throughout, but these are the 4 that you must take in order to make sure that you've met the requirements for the degree. So these are research methods, teaching for diversity and social justice, educational leadership, and curriculum and development and transformation. In each of these courses, you learn different skills and acquire that knowledge needed to be a leader. So for instance, in the first course, you look at developing a good, strong literature review and looking at action research and how you can do that within your classes that you teach as a teacher. The second one is looking at the ideas behind diversity and social justice. What actions are you taking on your campus? What does that look like? How can you develop either professional development or some type of support with your peers on your campus? So what does that look like? Educational leadership, taking in account those roles, being a caring leader, and what does that look like? And then developing curriculum at a different level, really thinking about you as a leader in this role and how can you make change and what does that look like? So these are 4 courses that we expect and require you to take in order to get your degree. We want to share some additional courses that you can take as well. Some of the additional courses that you can take are elective courses, and that's a combination of literacy, advanced topics, educational technology, and other approved credential courses. So some folks may already have their credential, and some of those courses, well, you have to have your credential to get into the program, but some of those courses that you can take transfer over. And so those would be required to be reviewed. And so we have different people, Dahlia and Baghdad, that would help with that to be able to see if any of your courses can count toward that master's degree. So it's always something to look at and consider. But
Can I jump in really quickly?
sure.
I think we might have bypassed, we will have a question period at the very end, and will be opened up for questions. There'll be a Q&A box that'll open up, and we'll take your questions at the end of this PowerPoint. So save them all up, and then we'll open it up at the very end.
Absolutely. Thank you. So you'll have a Q&A box. Okay, so beyond the elective courses, you will also take your culminating exam. So the difference with the other courses is they're usually 8 weeks. And so your culminating exam is for the whole semester. That's a 16-week course. And so just so you understand the difference in those. So your classes will go pretty quickly, and you are able to take 2 sets of classes throughout one semester. And then moving forward, when you get to your culminating exam, that would be a full semester long. Okay. Again, taking the core classes that we mentioned, 61, 62, 63, 64, 100, before that culminating exam. That way you are fully prepared to answer the questions. That's really important. Okay.
It's really important to remember because, electives always sound very interesting and topical, and, I might not want to do the research methods because that sounds scary, but you need to take these courses first, take all those core courses first, and then you can jump into your electives. That's the best way to run the program.
Mm-hmm. And then we also wanted to share that some of those electives may add or count up toward additional certificates or authorizations. So we have ed tech, we have computer science, reading literacy, and bilingual authorization. So these are other options for you as you're in your program and to add on to. So these courses may require, or these authorizations or certificates may require additional courses to complete them. But while you're in your master's program, these may be a part of that as an elective as you're moving through. So it's good to think about. Maybe you are thinking of getting an authorization or a certificate, and know that there are options for you. Next, we'll talk about program fees and some eligibility and application items, and I'll let Rhonda and Baghdad take that away.
Yeah, so all of your courses, you might have in the past taken classes that were 0 to 6 units. You get one fee, 6.1 and above, you get another. This is absolutely per unit. So each class are 3 units a piece, and it's $473 per unit. You can take one class, or you can take up to 4 classes in a term. It depends on how you want to manage your program. You're not penalized if you take one or if you take many. You're going to pay exactly the same regardless of how fast or slow you go through that program. It is a 30-unit program. So at the end, if you're coming in and you're taking all 30 units, all 10 classes, it's going to be little over $14,000. If you bring in 12 credential units, if you have a credential from CSU Bakersfield that you've completed within the last 5 years, you can bring up to 12 approved classes into our program. If you do that, then your master's degree is going to be $8,500 to complete. Your eligibility requirements to apply, you have to have a bachelor's degree from an accredited four-year college or university. You have to have a cumulative GPA of 3.0 or better in the last 60 semester units of all coursework. Now, if you don't meet that quite, there are a possibility to be conditionally admitted. You would reach out to us and ask us for that information. And you must have a valid teaching credential. It doesn't have to be from California, but it does have to be a valid. And intern credentials don't count because you might not complete everything for your internship. So you have to get your full credential. So you have to have a full credential to come into the curriculum and instruction master's degree. In your application, you're going to complete your online application in Cal State Apply, and the website is right there, www.calstate.edu/apply. The documents you're going to need, just reading it, you're going to need a digital transcript from all colleges. It's very important that you don't just say, send it to CSU Bakersfield. You're going to send those digital transcripts to dptranscripts@csub.edu. We will finally get them if you send them to the main campus, but it's going to really slow down your process. And sometimes we might not be able to find them because it goes to a different area. So it's very important that you make sure that we get those transcripts sent to us. You will provide us, we won't go in and look up your teaching credential. You'll have to provide us a copy of your teaching credential. There are reference forms. You're not going to get a reference letter, which should make it a little bit easier for you to get your references. You'll provide the reference forms from the Cal State Apply site, and you'll give them to your, and all of the instructions for the reference is listed in the Cal State Apply site. And then there's a $70 application fee. Now I'm going to add that if you go to our website that Dr. Evan Santiago posted at the beginning, you can just go to extended.csub.edu and find the CNI program. It'll give you detailed instructions and walk you through the Cal State Apply website. So you might want to take a look at that to, forestall any problems you might have in your application process.
Can I just add, sorry, let me just go real quick. Can I add that the transcripts, because a lot of students, they'll just submit their undergrad. It is required because I don't want to specify exactly, but we do want your undergrad that shows that you did get your bachelor's degree. And if you obtained anything after, such as like your credentials or your anything grad level, I would like for you to submit that as well, because we do look at, when I calculate, I believe it's done, which is the last GPA, we look at the last 60 units.
So it's not just your last 60 undergrad units that we look at. We look at the last 60 units that you have taken throughout your educational career. So we need your transcripts from every single institution you have attended. Your application deadline, the priority, it has just passed. The regular deadline for fall term is June 1st. And then for spring is October and November 1st, and summer is February and March 1st. When we receive the applications, once the deadline passes, it takes a little while to process the apps. Usually you'll hear something, you'll get a pending letter within 2 to 3 weeks of the deadline, of the application deadline, letting you know if there's any documents that we have not yet received. And it'll give you and also an additional deadline of when we need those final documents to be into our office. If you have any questions regarding admissions, Dahlia Ramirez is the person that's going to work with you throughout your admissions process, getting all of your admissions documents into our office. And then the program advisor you've met, Baghdad, and then you've met Dr. Evan Santiago. Feel free to contact any of us. I didn't put myself in there because I really am there if there's a big problem. So these are the people that you're going to want to contact, primarily Dahlia and Baghdad first, and they'll refer you to anybody else that you might need in the to answer your question.
Okay, so next I wanted to share a fun video, but I think I might have to, you know how you have to stop sharing for a second because if it's one screen versus the other. So let me switch it to share this with you. And it's for me to just share that doing this, it's all worth it. So let me share screen again and let me know how sound is, if you can hear it. And those are all people obtaining their master's degrees. So I love that. I love to share that and let us see that and think about that because that's who we are and that's what this is about. So this is the last slide to just share and say thank you. But I hope that if you have considered it or thought about it, this is something that encouraged you even more. We think that obtaining that master's degree is definitely worth it. It's something to have in your pocket. Like I said, it's golden. And so at this time, we would like to provide this space for you to be able to ask questions and hopefully we have the answers. If not, we will get them for you. So Q&A is available at the bottom of your screen. So go ahead and type away and we'll give you that time.
So far, it doesn't look like anybody's asked any questions. Have we done an amazing job and answered all your questions?
We have raised hands.
Okay. Do any of your electives offer curricular design?
The only electives that we have currently where it's close to that would be the elective of cultural perspectives in today's classroom. And the cultural perspectives course actually asks you to transform lessons. So it has you take a lesson that you usually do and help you think about how to revise and revamp to make it more culturally responsive within your teaching and your classrooms. So that's one that we look at that way. But honestly, our core class, not an elective, does that. So we have a curriculum course that helps you think about units and lesson plans. So it's not an elective, but it is a core course. So you will get it in two places if you take both of those classes.
So someone just asked, she was looking at this program and also looking at administration. So there is an educational administration program offered, but it's offered on the main campus. It's not offered online and it's not offered through extended education. So it would be a different application process and different contacts. You just need to contact the chair of that department to find out information about that program.
Mm-hmm.
Stephanie is asking, I got my teaching credential about 15 years ago. Does it count for any credits or will I need to take all 30 credits? Yes, due to the nature of a graduate program, all courses have to be within 7 years. It's part of the currency required for a graduate program, and all graduate programs are held to this standard. So you would have to take the entire 30-unit program. McKenna, if I'm finishing my teaching credential this semester, can I still apply since I do not have my preliminary credential? Yes, you can. What will happen is you will apply for your credential at the end of the term. Once your grades are posted, we will, if it's in spring term, and then we'll admit you conditionally and we'll give you a deadline. Now, if you are admitted conditionally and you do not meet those conditions, then we have to actually disqualify you from the program and you would have to start all over again. So if you apply, make sure that you're looking like all your TPAs look like they're going to be finished, like you're not going to be hitting any big problems, because once we admit you, then our hands are tied if you're unable to meet those conditions. Is that pretty clear?
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Evans, I'm going to let you answer. Do you have an emphasis in art education at all?
In the master's, no. So it's broad over leadership. It mostly focuses on leadership overall. But I love that idea. That might be something where we could think about as an elective course where we would have an art education elective. But the degree, it focuses on leadership overall. So no matter what content you're teaching or where you are headed within your district, you'd be able to utilize that master's degree. As far as like that leadership perspective.
So someone else is asking, I was one class short from attaining a minor in CAVS, Child Adolescent Family Studies. Would I be able to take that one course as an elective? Dr. Evans, Santiago, I think that would be yours.
No, because CAFS is usually considered an undergrad program, and we have not collaborated in that way with an elective here for that. So that's something that you may need to look at back with that department to see what you can do there. I don't know if they offer anything through extended ed to take just the one class, but that's something that you would need to connect with CAFS about to see how to do that. But that's not connected with the master's program.
If they were to find a way to take the class, would you accept that class into the program? Depending on the class,
Would we accept it as
an elective in the program? If they took a senior level course, they got approval to take it through Open University and they did it. I think that's their question. Would you accept it, the class itself, depending on the class?
we would have to look at what the class is. So the classes for CAFS are not methods courses. And so I think that's different. So we would have to look and see what it is. But currently the classes that count for electives through the credential program are methods courses, which is the how to teach, because this is like a curriculum and instruction, and it moves into that leadership in teaching or in leading teaching. And so that would be something to look at, but I can't promise that it would be considered as an approved elective course.
And all of our credential courses, even though some students can take them as undergrads, they're all post-baccalaureate level. They're not undergrad level courses.
Right.
So Esmeralda is asking for the English authorization for reading. Can you take them simultaneously with the 6100 through 6400 classes?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. The only thing that you need to be aware of. So you will need to take 6100 first, because that is a foundation course that you need for all of your other classes. So 6100 should be taken first, but that doesn't mean that you can't take one of the electives with the 6100 course, or if we're offering another foundation course with that 6100 course, you can do that. What you do want to keep in mind is that while you can take the electives intermingled with your foundations, you cannot take your culminating until you're finished with your core. But you can take your culminating if you have an elective or two to finish. So those are things to keep in mind when you're planning out your what you're going to be taking throughout the program.
About that, I believe they are supposed to take, yes, they can take their culminating exam with the electives, but it's also, it has to be the last class. So they can take the exam with the last one or two electives. But they cannot take it after the core classes, and then they still, after the culminating exam, take additional electives. It has to be the last class.
Good catch, Baghdad.
Mm-hmm.
If we get units from the credential program, our master's program would only count for 18 units, correct? Thinking of the pay skill units. Well, I don't know exactly how the districts pay, but go ahead.
Well, with credential, so through CSUB, I'm just speaking for CSUB. When you get your credential with us, it's bachelor's plus 40 something units. So if you're adding on to that, you move up pretty far. Like it might be bachelor's plus 60 units, or a master's. It would be specific as a master's, because you would have enough units. So it might be master's or bachelor's plus 60. It depends on the columns with the district, but know that your credential, if it was post back, those units count. And so you have those units already plus your master's. So then when you combine those, it usually moves on the columns, but it depends on like were you blended the whole time? you know, when we had that program. So if you're blended, it's all undergrad. So that wouldn't count.
And that's actually a good thing to bring up because you cannot double count units for an undergrad and a master's. So
Mhm.
you will have extra units in your undergrad with your blended program. So before you graduate, you let enrollment management know that you're going to be moving those into your post-bac. So those units that we take into your master's program are considered post-baccalaureate, and they'll be counted. You're not just an 18 units graduate program. It's going to be a 30-unit program. We're just bringing your post-baccalaureate credential units in, because not all of your units that you take in your blended program count towards your degree. So you'll want to make sure that you notify enrollment management that you want those units moved over to post-bac if they're not counting towards your degree.
Mhm.
And if you have questions about that, reach out to Baghdad. She'll help you.
And it's a really good question, because
Yeah, that's a great question.
that's a common thing where it's like, well, where will I be on the columns? It does depend on the district, but it's pretty common where it's like plus, 30 plus, 60, that type of thing. And so if that's the case, then you just need to see where that fits. If you're already moving over because of your credential and those already counted, I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if they would double count, like you said, Rhonda. So it might just be additional units thereafter. So, but it might just be masters, period. So just looking at that and seeing where those columns are, check with your district, and then also work with Baghdad on that to make sure to see where you lie with your transcripts. Good question.
So this person said, hello, I received financial aid during my BA. Is this something open for program, or are scholarships available? So yes, financial aid is available. State university grants are not available because students aren't paying state university fees, because they're paying per unit for each one of their classes. But Pell and loans are all open to students. If you are eligible for a scholarship, our students are also eligible for those scholarships. You would look at the financial aid website for that, our campus financial aid website, to find out any scholarship opportunities. And with financial aid, it's also subsidized and unsubsidized loans. So it's just the state university grant that's not available. And graduate programs generally don't have Pell Grant options. So, I mean, actually Pell Grant options, yeah. Which core class offers curriculum design?
6,400. And then also the elective, the cultural perspectives in today's classrooms. That's where you'll get some lesson planning, thinking and revising.
Finishing an add-on authorization for literacy with CSUB, do I still need to pay the application fee and send transcripts? Also, how many units to earn my master's? So you will need to pay the application fee for the master's program if you're doing the literacy program first. It is a different application process for an entire master's program. So you will need to go do that. And if you graduate, the transcript question is really good. If you graduated from CSU Bakersfield, you do not have to submit transcripts from CSU Bakersfield. You just let us know, make sure that's on your list, because we have access to your transcripts here. And we'll let you know if we need anything additional. How many units we will, because you had to go through an application process and it was a post-baccalaureate added authorization that we actually include in our CNI program. We will count all of your added authorization courses in, but understand you can only bring in a maximum of you can only bring in a maximum of 12 units or 15 units, Baghdad.
12 for the credential.
12 units of credential, and then you can bring in one additional elective. If you're bringing in your maximum credential, you can't bring in all of your added authorization
Yeah.
classes. You can only bring in one of them, because you also have to take your 4 core courses and you have to take your culminating. So you only have room for one additional elective at that point if you're bringing in all of those, if you're using all of your elective units in your credential program. So this person finished TPAs, RECA, and they're doing their last extended intern class this semester. They're applying for their preliminary, and she can apply to the master's. Yes, you can apply to the master's for fall 2024.
And congrats. That's exciting.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Being an
So-
intern with all this stuff is hard. So congrats.
Yes. And be aware, it's not CSUB approves your application, CSUB receives your application, and they submit it to the California Commission on Teacher Credentialing. So they are the ones that will actually issue your credential. We recommend, or the teacher education department recommends, and then CTC actually provides you your credential.
Mhm.
So
And then that went with that one. So Esmeralda's question, that's a good question.
yeah. I noticed the classes are broken up into session 1 and session 2. Does that mean I can take 2 classes per session? And is it realistic to be done in 1 semester for the main class of 61 to 64? Yes, we have students that do that. However, because they're 8-week sessions, the drop deadlines and refund deadlines are very, very tight. So if you jump into the classes and I would not take more than 2 in 1 8-week term, or session, don't do that. You're setting yourself up for misery and failure, really. So you don't want to take more than 2. But if you also jump in and you open up those syllabi and you're like, I'm not going to be able to do this in 8 weeks, both of these classes, it's very important that you decide that early on and make the call to go ahead and drop the class so you can get a full refund back. And don't take a lot of time. Don't find out 4 weeks into the 8-week term that it's been a little bit much for you. Since I would be coming in with my credential from CSUB, I would take the 4 classes, 1 elective, and the culminating exam course. Could I finish in 1 year? It's really, you can't, yes, you can finish in 12 months. So you'll probably want to finish your culminating in the summer. You'll do all of your classes in the fall and the spring, and then finish in the summer. We have had students really push it, but it really makes it difficult for them to get finished if they try to do it in an academic year. So you're going to want to just plan on 12 months, not a full year, not just an academic year to complete your master's program. If you're doing a new teacher development starting in the fall, would it count towards units in the programming? I'm assuming that means like FACT or BITSA. Those classes do not count towards your master's degree. Credential courses do, but those are considered professional development, and they don't count towards this master's program. I graduated as a blended student in the fall of 2019 and took the classroom management class and the math class, and took a year off and finished my credentials in spring of 2023. Can I still use the courses from 2019? Do I have to start this fall, or is it possible for me to start in the spring and still use the courses from 2019?
Is it post-class? Or it's blended? Because if it's blended, you won't.
Well, it's got to be finished it depends on when you took your classes for the credential program, right? Remember, all of the classes that you're bringing into the program have to have been completed within the last 5 years. That gives you your time to complete your the master's program within your 7 years. So yeah, it needs to be, every class that you're bringing in needs to be completed within that 5-year mark.
So if it's 2019, we're already at 5 years.
Yeah, already applied.
Yeah, so you're only going to be bringing in like that last term, the fall term of your last.
If they're starting
class.
fall.
Yeah, if you start in the fall. If you start next spring, you won't be able to bring in any of your classes. Core classes are all 8 weeks long. Also, can we take 62, 63, and 64 together? So like I said, you're not going to want to take 3 classes at once. You're going to want to take, you can take 6100. And I think, I'll have to look at the schedule now and see how we ran that. Are we offering 61?
61 and the first 8 weeks, and then 63, 64 is the second 8 weeks.
Okay, yes. So you want to take 61 for sure. And then if you want to take 62 with it, and then you'll take 63 and 64 in your second 8 weeks. Everything that you take within the program, elective and core, they're all 8 weeks long, except for your culminating, which is 16 weeks. We want to give you that full 16 weeks to take care of your culminating activity. What questions do the culminating exam consist of? Questions from those 4 courses. How many questions?
Mhm.
I'll let you do that, Doctor.
So yes, so there are questions from the core courses. You get to choose. So you have a variety of questions and you need to choose, but you need to answer 3 of the questions. So I think we give you 8 or, something like that to choose from, maybe 6 or 8 questions. And from there, you will answer 3, complete the whole prompt. So it's not just a quick question, you're writing 3 10-page papers. So it takes time, it takes preparation, and you have to show what you've learned throughout based on those questions. So it's definitely something that you need to spread out over 16 weeks. Don't try and rush it the last 8 weeks or, do a quick job because you can only take, and we should have said this earlier, you can only take the culminating exam twice. Um, and so we want to make sure that you're well prepared for that. And so that's why we say core courses first. So you get all of that background knowledge and then you go in full throttle for that whole semester. So the questions vary. They're not the same every time. So you would have to wait until your semester to get them. You do have a faculty member to support you throughout that culminating exam time. You also have someone that helps guide the process and all of that. So it's very supported and we help throughout and we have office hours, we have lit review help, we have all kinds of things to provide to support that time and even prior to that. So use it wisely and just know that you'll have to create 3 papers from those questions.
And also it's be aware that incompletes are not allowed for the culminating for any reason because it is an exam, basically. And if you have, we will allow you to drop the class, but then the next term you'd have to register again and you get 3 brand new questions. So be ready. This is the strictest class that you're going to take in the program because you can't get an incomplete for any reason. We'll let you drop the class, with approvals or whatever, but you will have to retake it. And what Dr. Evan Santiago meant about twice is that some people don't actually pass it the first time. They don't get a high enough grade the first time. You have to pass with a B or better. And some people don't do that. You only get 2 times to be able to attempt it. So if you don't pass it once, you get 1 additional time. And then there is no more path. So, and in undergrad, there's always a path. You can always come back. But with the master's program, it's very, very strict. And when you're finished with it, you have actually completed a very high level a program, and you can be very proud of that. But from the second you step into the program, we expect you to take it as seriously as we do. So it's a priority and it's time, and it is a master's program. It's not undergrad, it's not your credential, and you will feel the difference when you start taking those classes. So understand they're rigorous and there's a lot expected from you. By the time you get to your culminating, you'll be prepared, you'll be ready for it, but just understand it's very strict. The rules surrounding your culminating activity, they're very strict. So
Just to kind of mention, so the core classes, I just want to quickly mention, you are supposed to get a B or better to pass the class for the core classes. So if you get B minus or anything lower than a B, then you would have to retake that class.
yes, your core classes do require that B. In your elective classes, you can get a C in those as long as you maintain a 3.0 GPA overall. But for your core classes, it has to be a flat B or better.
Also, for your core classes, you need live text. We didn't talk about that, or some type of it might be watermark coming up, but there is a system where you would have to upload for those 4 classes, and you'll see that as it comes up and you'll see it on the website, but that's important to know just for those 4 classes. And then also for your exam, it's not graded by one person. We have a team. So just so you know that we all are responsible. We are assigned assessments, and with that team, we do a cumulative grade. And so we take all 3 grades and combine. So you want to keep those high. You need to keep them at a B to be able to get the final grade of a B, if that makes sense.
If I'm just interested in earning the bilingual authorization, do I still need to apply to the master's program, or would that be a separate program? All of the added authorizations require a separate application process, and you do not have to be in the CNI program for it. Actually, for the bilingual program, it's best that you do that on its own, and the CNI program on its own, because the bilingual authorization is a rigorous program all by itself, and requires field work. So you're going to want to do, and you will also, should you decide that you want the master's program after you finish your bilingual authorization, we will accept all of those units in there also, because they are graduate level, and they did have its own rigorous application process. So you would probably should just concentrate on your bilingual authorization first, and then come back and get your master's degree after, or vice versa, whichever one you wanted. Well, you're going to want the bilingual first, so we'll bring in those classes for you. So for the transcript, since I submitted my transcript to CSUB for credential program, do I need to resubmit them? Okay, so I'm going to say no with a caveat. You're gonna put all of the program, all of the schools that you attended on your application. You're going to indicate that you came to CSU Bakersfield. Dahlia will look for your transcripts that you've submitted to CSUB in the past. However, it has been that we have not been able to find one of the transcripts that you might have submitted in the past. She will let you know if there are additional transcripts needed. So if they're here and we can find them, no, you don't have to resubmit them. But if we cannot find them, then you're gonna need to resubmit them. I earned my teaching credential in December 2020. If I would like to begin the program in January 2025, will I be able to do the 18-unit program? No, all of your courses for your teaching credential will be too old at that point. So all of the courses have to be within the 5 years, so that way you have your 7 years. Will I be able to apply for the spring semester if I will be getting my teaching credential in the fall? So your issue with that, you can, but you're going to be up against a very, very tight timeline. So you'll have to get your application for your credential in very, very quickly. We will admit you conditionally, but then that means, I think it's by census state, which would be, say, mid-February, somewhere in there.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
think it's gonna.
Yeah, it's like mid-February, that if we don't have that in hand, then you have not met your conditions and we have to discontinue you, and then you have to apply for a future term. So you can, but again, if you have any issues, any problems with your TPAs, anything, there's just no grace period at that point. You haven't met your conditions for admission. Just to clarify, will I be able to use units from my first semester of credential program if I wasn't post-bac and I blended? If you blended, you're only going to be able to use the units that are post-baccalaureate that you did not use for your undergraduate program. So we do have students who do this, and Baghdad can help you. Send her an email with specifics, and she can let you know in more detail. If I complete my core classes in the fall and I brought in 2 electives for my credential program, does that mean I would need 2 more electives? My core 6. Yes, it would, because you have to have 10 classes total. So you have your 4 and you're bringing in 2, and you have your culminating. You would actually have 3 additional classes you would need to bring in. Maybe not, because credential classes are 4, right? Our credential class is 4 units.
4 units, so.
Okay.
That would be
So you have to have 30 units. That's basically, your master's program has to have 30 units, and that counts your core classes, your culminating, and any electives, whether they're elective classes or they're credential classes that you brought in. I think that's it. We'll give another couple of seconds in case we weren't clear on an answer or something and you wanna follow up. We will make the slides available. I've talked to our marketing director, and actually the slides won't be available. It'll be this information meeting will be available, and then you can scroll through it. Like, we'll post it on our website. Couple minutes. So I just want to say thank you so much for attending this information meeting. We had really good questions. It makes me very excited about the next group that are coming in and the interest that you all have in the program. Thank you for taking your time. I'm going to let Dr. Evan Santiago take us out and say any last words.
Yeah, so remember, it's worth it. You saw the video, the smiling, happy faces, knowing the next steps you'll take and what an impact that you'll have on our students and the community as you move forward in leadership. So we hope that you take on this opportunity. We look forward to hooding you at the end. We can't wait to see you and to see what you do. So good luck with everything and go runners.
And any additional questions, feel free to contact Baghdad. Thanks. Bye.